How's it going? Welcome to Green Card Guys TV. I'm your host, John Ting, and today we're going to talk about the what happens if I miss the 1 year after the priority date reaches. You might be familiar with this concern with a lot of applicants and maybe for your own case, your family members. So we're going to talk about that very soon. And want to share with y'all, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Subscribe down below and smash the like button because you're going to get a lot of tips starting right now. Now, let's see here. So back to the topic, the question for today. I'm going to share the visa bulletin so you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is for family preference category, also for employment-based preference category. But this is, more, we get a lot of questions for folks who are in this scenario for family based. And that's because if you're to share the difference for immediate relative classification, immediate relative meaning the visa is immediately available. Of course, there's still a wait time for the government agencies to process your application and get it approved. But aside from that, the visa is available. So, and that includes three different relationships. If you are a child under 21, and you have a parent that's a U.S. citizen that filed for you, that's immediate relative. The most common one is if you're married to a U.S. citizen. Now, the other one is if let's say you're a son or daughter over 21, U.S. citizen, and you're filing for a parent. Okay, so those are three main relationships that qualify for immediate relative category. Okay, now any other types of relationship would fall under family preference. Now, I just want to share that background, but there's a lot of different relationships under that. It's if you have a spouse, could be a resident filing for you, or it could be a parent filing for you as a resident or a U.S. citizen. Now, here's the deal: a lot there's a long wait time, mostly for the F4 category. It goes from F1 all the way to 4. F1, F2A, F2B, and F3 and F4. F4 is for brother and sisters. Now I'm going to share with you right here the visa bulletin, and you're going to have a really good idea of why it's very important, especially if you're about to file a case like this and you're thinking, oh, it shows like 10 years later. That's frustrating, but I'm not going to look at it. Um, well, here's the deal. You need to look at it. I'm sorry. It's frustrating, but let's see here. Okay, share my screen. And here we are. Okay, this is the visa bulletin. You can just, go into Google or Bing, whatever you prefer. And then scroll here. You click the most recent month that's available. So right now it's November. The upcoming month is coming soon. So click on that. Okay, before we get into the detail of this, friends, we do offer free 15-minute preliminary discussion to see if we can point you in the right direction. Now, there's no obligation to hire us. This is just because some people have questions where maybe you have a lawyer and you're just looking for the second or fifth opinion. Completely understandable, because for us, I tell my team, it's like, look, talking to a doctor. You want to verify if things are correct, that maybe your previous or current lawyer said something or did not say something. So completely understand. We offer free 15 minutes. Now, our CARES team, when you first call in or you fill out the form online on our website, greencardguys.com, and they call you, they're going to ask you some questions to see if we can better point you in the right direction, because we have free guides on our website, and I'm going to share that with you as an example. Check it out right here. We have several different guides on our website, greencardguys.com. And once you download it, it has common questions and answers, things you should know, estimated step-by-step. But that's really typically for cases. There are other scenarios that actually, people have been outside America for too long and want to verify if that means they maintain a status or not, how they can resurrect their status, essentially. So, that'd be a good topic for later this week in that scenario. But the thing is, because they might not be able to schedule you for every They might not, the cares team is not able to schedule every single caller. We greatly appreciate it. But at least those, if anything, we should be able, excuse me, should be able to send you a free guide in the meantime. All right. So back to the visa bulletin. All right. So let's see here. So you scroll down and you'll see that, yeah, these are the family sponsored preference categories, F1 all the way to 4. And here's the deal, because every fiscal year has a limit, a ceiling of visas they can issue. So just because you apply doesn't mean they can issue a visa in the same year. That's only for the immediate relative category. So usually we skip chart A in the beginning and go down to B. But as you can see here, the visa bulletin, all right, if you go to F4, this is the slowest one. They're working on cases who they filed step 1, a petition filed back in December 2007. So the first 2 digits here are for the actual day, and the last 2 digits are for the year. And when it says the letter C, that means, assuming that your petition has been approved, then it can move more swiftly to the National Visa Center to process to get, request you to upload certain evidence, mostly financial, and then get in queue for the interview. Whereas if it had, let's say, F4, and you have a prior date of, like, let's say December 2008, then you can't take any action yet. And that action being completing the DS-260 or uploading the evidence into the system. Okay. And so, by the way, if you have any questions or just comments in general, observations of your case, please drop it in the comments. Share with us here in the community with Ting Law Group and Green Card Guys. All right. So I can talk all day about the visa bulletin, but here's the deal. When you miss the 1 year, because especially with a sibling kind of case or sibling family preference case, F4, and you don't check at least every year, and all of a sudden 10 years pass by or something like that. This one we show like 2007. Mexico is 2001. Really ridiculous. So that's what, 21 years at least wait time. But let's say all those years pass, and then you don't put in your calendar to check. With all the technology we have available, iPhone, Android, whatever you use, um, put on your calendar as a set, like a recurring reminder. Okay, that's really the easiest way that I suggest. So you check the visa bulletin, and then when it gets closer, let's say like within 2 years of your priority date, then you set it for every month to check, because you just never know how the government's going to work. And like even next year, things can change. So let's see here, because here we are all the way to, I shared all that context. And then if you miss it and it's been 1 year past that timing, you most likely have to start over. And that it would be very, very frustrating. We've had people call in and we had to give them the bad news. We can't even offer them a contract because to take over the case in that sense. I mean, if they wanted us to refile it, yeah, sure, in that situation, but we can't rectify that situation. It's so the 1 year rule is pretty important. You need to make contact with NVC, and there's some people that have made contact every year, just say, "Hey, we're still here." In that scenario, excuse me, losing my voice again. In that scenario, the people think they need to file a waiver, and they didn't file the waiver. And the reason why they need a waiver in the first place is because they overstayed their visa, and it's a family preference category. Overstaying your visa is okay, and you can continue to apply for adjustment of status in the US if you either maintain your status or you have what we call a golden ticket, maybe 245I. You had a prior petition filed for you. Doesn't matter who the family member was, but that was before April 30th, 2001. You are a victim of violence, so you may have filed for VAWA I-360 or for U visa, but just specifically for family preference, you either need to maintain your status, maybe let's say, for example, F1 student visa, or you apply for a waiver. Okay. And so, in a waiver, you might not be eligible for it. But the step number one that we as a legal team look at is, do you have a qualifying relative? It can't be your uncle, your aunt, cousins. It has to be a parent or a spouse who's a U.S. citizen or a resident. Now, if you have a spouse that has status, people would think, well, why not just file through them? Yeah, I recommend that. But if you already have a petition filed a long time ago, you might want to just go ahead and file the waiver based on that, because typically, I can't say there's less scrutiny, but there's less evidence. Let's say less evidence that you need to provide to the government, and also the thing is, when some people have called in and we said, "Why'd you wait all these years? You could have filed for the waiver." And some people think, oh, well, I heard that you need to have hardship, but I thought it had to be medical concerns, medical hardship. No, not at all. Very few of our clients actually have any medical hardships when we file a waiver. And knock on wood, we've had every waiver package application approved except one. I tell this to everyone in consultations too in our team. Only one, because the spouse didn't want to go through with it anymore. And so we had RFE and they didn't want to sign any paperwork. So they had a change of heart. Had nothing to do about the preparation with our team. We're very, very detailed with this. And because these cases take a long time, now it's at least 24 months. Before the pandemic was 8 months. And even back then, we thought that was too long. So this is what we do, by the way, is we file a lawsuit. Okay, it's called mandamus lawsuit, mandamus federal action. Not every immigration lawyer has certification to do this. Okay, so if you have a lawyer, don't feel bad. Don't yell at your lawyer for not knowing. It's okay. Just give us a call. We'll see if the timing is appropriate for you to file a lawsuit. It's not just for waiver applications, it could be other scenarios. Okay, so anyway, back to waiver. If you have entered United States without a visa or overstayed your visa, but it's a family preference petition, you need to apply for a waiver. It does not require medical hardship. Okay, if you continue waiting and waiting, and then your prior date reaches, and then you talk to a lawyer when your prior date reaches, there's a hot tip, folks, because these applications take a long time, and then your prior date reaches, and then the waiver application takes at least 2 years on average right now. Maybe it might reduce the processing time, after the pandemic, but I don't anticipate that. Okay, that's really mostly because they have lack of personnel working with USCIS. So this is very important. You just need to time it as best you can. This is strategy, legal strategy in terms of timing. Don't wait until you think there's hardship. Just talk to a lawyer. It does not have to be our team. It could be anyone, any lawyer. Of course, there's some bad apples out there, but you need to conduct your own due diligence. There's so many people that need status, even within the United States. I think, when we talk about reform, there's at least minimum 8 million people that need status. So we know we can't help everyone. It'll be our pleasure to assist you, guide you from start to finish. But we're here on YouTube, greencardguys.tv, to share this critical information so that you don't wait too long to take action. Because by the time that your prior date reaches, again, it might be too late. I mean, you still need to file a waiver, but this is just a serious concern. People wait too long. And I really, we're on YouTube to share information, like as if I were, still doing this in person, like Know Your Rights workshops. And so I realize there's so many problems out there, especially related to immigration. So that is the key there. Don't wait more than 1 year after your prior date reaches. Okay. And after your petition's approved and you need a waiver, and you might not know if you need a waiver and you want to verify that, talk with a lawyer. Then you file the waiver after the petition's approved. Unfortunately, you cannot file the waiver 601A at the same time as a petition or even before it. The petition is step number one, and that must be approved first. I've been talking a long time. If you have any questions, folks, drop it in the comments, or you have any observations, please share it with the tribe here, in the community. And in the meantime, if you're just joining us on the show, we do offer free 15-minute preliminary discussion to point you in the right direction, solve your immigration problem. because hopefully you don't even have one and we can prevent it from happening in the first place. So that's why we have these topics that we share every day. Let's see here. So, yeah, also let me know in the comments if you've been waiting, if you think you've been waiting too long on your case. Um, I think that's very important that you take action because I get into this topic sharing tips and then I realize I need to share a success story. Okay. That we filed a case, federal action in Southern District of Florida. And I just got a call from the U.S. Attorney's Office from that local court. And they said the visa was issued. And actually, our client called into our office as well and notified, and they checked the status, and the visa was issued. So, what we do in this scenario, they've been waiting a long time. Okay. And this is one of our shortest time periods for even waiting. There is a legal process called step number one is file the complaint. Okay. Step number two is serve them, deliver the paperwork. We don't do it in person. Wish we could if we were just next to the court, but we help clients all across the country. So what we do, unfortunately, federal rules require that we mail them by snail mail. We can't, use like FedEx. That would be great. I would love to pay for that so that we can speed up the case for our clients. But we have to use USPS. So nevertheless, even though that's going and it's going through the service of process is what we call it. After the lawsuit's filed, it notifies the agencies. Okay, so even if the U.S. attorney didn't talk to the agency knows about it. So that's why, and they take a look at your case file and say, why the heck are we delaying on this? It needs to get going. So it appears to me it's not always at the local field office if you have a 485 delay or even asylum application delay for 4 or 5 years, or you're consular abroad and you provided in the 5535 form, even though I think it's ridiculous. I just don't think the government has a really good, efficient system. So I don't think it's always about um, them delaying intentionally. I think for certain countries, unfortunately, and for certain applicants, but not for all applicants. I believe for most of our clients and for mandamus lawsuits that are suffering these unfortunate delays is because the government is not efficient at all. Okay, very unorganized. By the way, if you are on WhatsApp and you don't have a US based number, you can still contact us on WhatsApp at this number down below, scrolling below 346-330-5888. Because the number above doesn't have a WhatsApp account yet. That one is US based number. So hopefully it helps if you're trying to reach us on WhatsApp. Hey, Marlon, what's going on? Nice to see you. Welcome to the show again. Okay, your question is if a child and a parent is petition at the same time via spouse through consular processing, will they both be interviewed at the same time? Uh, yes. I haven't had a situation where it'd be separate, but it should be part of the same case because the same application. Now, if the spouse is a U.S. citizen, Marlon, then you're supposed to file two separate petitions. I know it's weird, but if it's a family preference category, so family preference, that would be a spouse, F2A, that is a spouse who's a resident, okay, legal permanent resident. And if that's the case, you don't have to file a separate petition for the child. Okay, so hopefully that helps. So, Marlon, if you're still on, let me know if your spouse, I'm sorry, I forgot if you're the foreign national immigrant or if your spouse is the foreign national. But whoever has a status, are you a resident or a U.S. citizen? Because that would affect it to include your child or not. I know it's strange when it's a family preference. It does include children, and I know there's the other thing, misconception, which we'll need to talk about that CSPA, Status Protection Act. Even if the child is over 21, so an adult technically, but of course when you filed the application a long time ago, the child most likely usually becomes over 21 by the time you go through this entire process, and you can still get status. Not everyone, but there's a weird calculation. We need certain information that we can help you find out. to protect it. But just because the government says or doesn't include that adult child in the welcome letter, you need to take action to find out, verify. Okay, don't wait. Okay, Marlon, I see that you say person is a U.S. citizen. Okay, then I hope that that sponsor has filed a separate petition for the child. Okay, that's very important. Let's see here. So even though the petitions don't have the same receipt notice, that's okay. You can still get it scheduled at the same time. We've done that before. All right. So in the meantime, if you're just joining on the channel, welcome. We're just talking about mandamus. Here's our free guide that we have on our website that contains common questions and answers. Now, the most common question I can share with you right now is that people say, if I sue the government, will that result in a denial? You could receive a denial, but it doesn't mean just because you sue the government, it result in denial. And the reason is because at the end of the day, if they want to deny you, they would have done it already. And maybe they have. Maybe you received if your loved one is abroad and you have received a visa refusal, that's technically like, yeah, denied, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the end of the road. If you believe you should have been approved, issued a visa, we'll take a look at it. Okay, so that's why you should give us a call or text us down below. If you are abroad, use that number, use WhatsApp. Otherwise, if you're US based, call the 720 number. We're happy to point you in the right direction. You're welcome, Marlon. Happy to help. Happy to help. All right. So, by the way, folks, if you have, appreciated our responses here, unfortunately, we're not able to help everyone, but folks, if you have positive experience, we greatly appreciate it if you, go to this link, feedback. Oops, that's the wrong link. Let's see, can I delete it? Oops. Gave y'all the wrong link. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Let me write the right one. Feedback. Link. Ting Law. That should be it right there. Okay, check that out. I greatly appreciate any support there. Okay. Right. There we go. Let's see if this works. Okay. Awesome. Great. So yeah, if you had a positive experience, especially if we were able to respond to your answer in a timely manner here, please share your feedback with our team. We greatly appreciate it. Our team does a great job. Also, when you call in to the CARES team initially, they really try to do their best to point you in the right direction. Okay, and email you a free guide, or even refer you to another lawyer if for some reason the case type you're requesting assistance on is not something that we accept. So at this time, we don't accept asylum cases. Um, there's a lot to manage there for asylum, and by the way, you need to keep track of when you enter the U.S. You have less than 1 year to file your asylum application, okay, to get that benefit, because you also could get a temporary work permit, I believe after 180 days after you file the asylum application. Okay, so there's a bunch of lawyers that do help with asylum, but we do have one in mind. If you have any questions, check out this website. Okay, you have to do your own due diligence, of course. ManningAsylumLaw.com. He only handles Brian Manning, attorney, only handles asylum cases. He's just one of many attorneys out there that handle asylum law. But check out his website, see if you can book a consultation with him. Here's his name. Okay. But I don't guarantee any results for someone else. Even can't do that for our own cases. We're not allowed to by the state bar. But anyway, check it out. And let's see here. Yes, to unlock those free 15 minutes, I have a secret code to share with you. So let me share it with you right here. You could have guessed it. It's Green Card Guys down below. And here are at least five benefits of hiring our team. And the most critical one that people don't realize is actually important to them is how soon their attorney or law firm is going to file their case. So we put that, at the very top. And, certain cases, like if you're applying for residency status, typically it's 30 days, 30, 60, and 90. And the thing is, I don't think many lawyers are telling their clients when they're going to file. And I think it's because it's going to feel like too burdensome, overwhelming for their team. But if we train our team. I can't say for other lawyers, but we train our team so that we could file it in a timely manner. And we just have to do it just like anything, just like in personal life. You have the time block and file the case and have meetings. We have team meetings. If not, we have office hours. So we have a lot of team meetings to make sure we're on point to get things filed for our clients on a timely manner. And of course, to update our clients, which, by the way, if you are a client watching and or considering to be a client in the future, and you're wondering what else, okay, we did share earlier those benefits. The other one is you can self-schedule an appointment to chat with your attorney. Okay. Or because if you call in and say, "Can I talk with a lawyer?" We time block. So we're not available outside those hours. Okay. So, and that appointment box is on our website. So again, you don't have to call in just to ask, "Can I talk with a lawyer?" It's readily available for you. It's also, that link is at the bottom of our signature line in our email. So we're not trying to hide. I think a lot of lawyers do try to hide, but you hire us for a reason. Okay. We're here to share information. And even if we don't have an update for you, we're doing better and better. We're trying to improve our process so that we do update you something, because I know it can be nerve wracking to wait and wait, especially how the government is so freaking slow. So, friends, if you have any questions for our team, please contact us here or go to our website, and it's here down below. Here's how it looks: greencardguys.com. Click on contact us and click on take quiz. Answer just a couple questions, and then it'll take you to a form that you can self-schedule an appointment for free 15 minutes. All right, friends, I greatly appreciate it. And until next time, please stay safe.